Yo, yo. What is up, everybody? Excited to be here. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a couple of minutes. Yo.
Yo, what's up?
Living the dream, man.
Let's do it.
All right. So Penno Pace will be hopping on here in just a moment. What's up, Claudio, Rick, Minerva, Camo Hi. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Wesley, Eden, Fernando, Aaron, Katie. What's up, guys?
Dang, man, we got people from all over the place.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
Backward Hat Gang. Craig's got it.
Hey, got to keep the look up, Craig. I've never been on Sunday service. This is my first time ever. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Yeah, everybody, if post where you're tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? What time is it? Love to hear from you guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Nice. What are you guys talking about this week, Cody?
So I am going to see from Pace, but I believe he wanted to talk about, so last weekend we were talking about the first three of 7 benefits to doing creative finance. So we were talking about doing, numbers 4 through 7, but we're also going to be going over a case study of a deal that we got and kind of talk about the lead source. Where did that lead come from? What marketing channel did we use to get that deal? And then, what we got the property under contract for, and then basically explaining, what we're doing with that.
Dude, the whole thing.
Property. Yeah.
The whole thing from start to finish. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Oh, let's see. So Minerva says on vacation in Puerto Rico, 10:03 p.m. That's dope. Puerto Rico sounds.
Hey, that's dedication. Always trying to learn, always trying to grow, even on vacation. Tuning into Sunday service.
Yep. Let's see here. American Seller calls he did this week. Talk about some of those. Yeah, let's see. We'll see. Awesome. Yeah, we got people tuned from all over.
I remember like a year ago when you guys were doing these on conference call.
Yeah.
I was like sitting in my bedroom, like listening to these calls. I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, well, I know there's some people on here that don't know who you are, Matt, potentially. I mean, by now they should, but there might be some people tuning in, listening to you for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and, intro us in. I want to get you introduced as well. And then, we'll get into the topic of the night. Happy Sunday, everybody. Sunday service. For those of you maybe tuning in for the first time, we do this pretty much every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. And we've been doing this for the last couple of years now. Like Matt was saying, we started off doing these on a conference line where you had to dial in to tune in. Then we switched to Instagram, and then we found technology and found StreamYard, where we could be on, YouTube, Facebook, and, in a few different Facebook groups as well. So, we're super excited with, what we've, had come about with Sunday service, and it's just seeing how it's impacting the community has been really exciting for us. And so, every Sunday that we do this, we're looking to, continue to gain feedback from you guys and what you want to hear more of so that we can continue to share and be able to help everybody that's listening in, because that's the goal. The reason that we decided to create Sunday service is myself and Pace were talking about, wow, what if we could just have, wouldn't it have been nice when we started to just be able to listen to something where people that are really doing deals or live answering questions on a consistent basis? I mean, that would be nice. I mean, I know for me, I just had to spend money on, just had to buy courses, had to pay for trainings. and that to get just bits of nuggets. It's still great to buy the courses. It's great for the trainings, but it's nice to be able to go on and ask a question and get that question answered, in real time. So that's why we decided to create Sunday service, guys. And so I'm going to have Matt introduce himself here in a second. For those of you just hopping on, I know we've had 20, 30 other users or viewers hop on here in the last couple minutes. So we're going to be talking about a breakdown of a deal that we just recently did. But in the meantime, I'm going to get you guys introduced to Matt Beard. So Matt Beard is going to tell you guys his quick story, but just to give you guys an idea, within a short period of time, meaning under a year of him being in his real estate investing business, he's already took his investing business to being pretty much fully automated by virtual assistants. Not fully automated, because nothing is ever fully, right?
We get really close.
Yeah, but pretty damn close to having a business ran mostly by virtual assistants, and with a bigger accomplishment on that too is not just doing a couple deals a month. I mean, having $100,000 plus months, with the team that he's put into place within a year or less of time, guys. Understand that. So, that's something that. That's one of the reasons we wanted Matt to, hop on here. And for some that may not have known that about him, for those of you that may be in those beginning stages, this is a guy to look at, right? So, So Matt, if you want to give us the 2-minute rundown of okay, what got you into real estate investing specifically, and then, what you've kind of done within this year, and maybe a couple key takeaways that you wish you maybe would have looked at sooner, or maybe have made a different decision on looking back.
Sure. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. This is really cool. I know, like I was saying, just a little over a year ago, it was August 2019, I was listening to all the calls, right? So I feel like I'm a product of Sunday service. Listening to these calls, listening to what you guys had to say, it was always so cool on your guys' perspective and how you were structuring deals. So that was always a ton of fun. So I actually got started in real estate investing. It was a kind of progressive thing. I was doing real estate appraisals, and then I was doing traditional real estate, doing listings, and I was hating my life. So I quit doing that, and I kind of went all into wholesaling. In August, after, I know you, Cody, personally, and I was listening to the calls. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And then I saw Cody buy a Maserati. I'm like, okay, I definitely got to do this. But yeah, no, I moved out here from South Carolina. So for everybody watching from South Carolina, I'm from Lexington. Now, now we have, so I think that was really the kick in the ass for me. Last year when I went in all in August to get some deals, I was door knocking, and I knew that I didn't want to cold call. Cold calling wasn't for me. So, I say it wasn't for me. I'd rather just be in front of people rather than behind a computer dialing. So I hired a virtual assistant, right? And from there, I think I probably got my first, 10, 15 deals from door knocking. But it was just, pounding the pavement every single day. And that's kind of how we started working together. We kind of partnered up on the door knocking team, and we built something out really cool here in Phoenix that I think that's what really took me to the next level is, working together with people who know the business, know what they're doing. I didn't try to do too much in the beginning. I knew it's I just got to go find a deal. And if it's a good deal, I know it had no trouble selling it. So,
I want to stop you on that. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but on that topic of I just focused on getting to a deal. So for you guys listening, understand this is a really important part about Matt's process. So why did you just focus on the getting the deal process while other people are focusing on what when they're starting?
Well, they're focused on software, what they should buy, trying to build a buyer's list, trying to do all these things. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. If you get a good deal, you're never going to have any trouble selling that deal, right? And I can tend to be an overthinker, and I can be stuck in my head. And if I'm trying to get all these things right, it'll never be perfect, right? So I knew it's like, if I'm going to take action, if I'm going to do it, I only focused on finding deals. So that's where door knocking came in. And, I knew I needed help. So that's why I hired a virtual assistant to help me do that.
Amazing. Amazing. So not overthinking it, because I think a lot of people do that, and it really makes you take a lot longer. It's like the person that gets excited about the gym and getting in shape, but instead of actually going to the gym, they buy the new shoes, they buy a new workout outfit. They can't start at the gym because they want to get a trainer, but they got to research the trainers and, oh, who should I start with? Oh, what diet should I do? And they take weeks to take any action. And that's where I think one of the biggest, attributes that you have is you just take action in its imperfect action. So Thomas is saying, yes, I do that. Right. So, that's a really key thing. So I'm going to let you get back into it, but I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no. So that was the one thing for me. Like Craig is saying here in the comments, that's exactly what I did. I read the one thing while I was in Europe, and I was like, okay, when I get back home, I'm going to go all into wholesaling. I know I need to focus on getting deals. So how do I find those deals? I didn't have any time to waste, so I was door knocking. I hired a virtual assistant right off the bat to help me. They were cold calling while I was door knocking to like double my effort. So a lot of people ask like, okay, well, now that we have like a scaled operation with virtual assistants and it's really cool and we do all these things, like, well, what should I have my virtual assistant do? Like, who should I hire first? And first and foremost, you need to hire someone who can bring you more leads, right? In the hierarchy of like growing your business, leads is your lifeblood, sales is your lifeblood. So like I knew that I needed more opportunities to get in front of sellers, and it was all here in Phoenix. In everything that I was doing, I was going on appointments. And that's what kind of catapulted me from doing, one deal a month to doing that was kind of regular. So like August, I did one deal, September 2, October, I think I did 2 deals in October, and then November I did 17, and that was kind of the launching pad, was building up that momentum by doing it every single day. And then I knew like, okay, well, that evolution of, finding a deal, and yeah, it's cool to make some money and stuff, but I realized that you can only do so much, you can only do so much in your business, that I knew I needed some help. So that's where virtual assistants came in, was like, okay, well, if I'm going to hire a cold caller, well, I need to hire 2 cold callers, 3 cold callers. Now we got all these leads coming in. Now I need help with the sales process, because again, at this point, I was still focusing on just finding deals, right? It wasn't trying to build this massive, like, oh, I need to get a disposition department, I need to get all these things. Like, no, still trying to get deals. And I think that's what I did in the beginning, and that's kind of how we got to a point now with our business that our virtual assistants just last week sent out 9 contracts on their own.
That's wild.
I don't know the seller's name. Don't know the seller's name. Never had a conversation with them, but everything was done by my team in the Philippines. So it's amazing. It can definitely be done, but it took me some time to get to that level. But what I did was focus on finding deals, door knock, because a lot of people don't know this, but when you door knock, you got to be quick on your feet. So it makes you a really, really, really good like salesperson, negotiator. So all the lessons that I learned up to that point, I was able to impart to my team. And then now we have like basically, I guess you could say a scaled operation. It's not as big as I want it to be. Obviously we always want to grow our businesses. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
But now, everything's done virtually.
Awesome. Your story is like it's like the poster board for like what most people want to get their business to look like within a year. So, that's super impressive what you've been able to do. So what I think we're going to do, because Pace got tied up, is what I want to do on this Sunday service is answer some of the questions that you guys have in regards to, systems, maybe marketing. And, since we have Matt here also, talk about virtual assistants, how to have, more success with those as well. But I have seen a few questions come in here, so I want to get back to some of you guys on the questions. I think, we're getting up to about 175 people on the stream. Craig Rogers, Matt read the one thing. Craig knows your story.
Hey, Craig, for you guys who are watching this and don't know, every Friday I go live at 9 a.m. Arizona time talking about VA success, how to be successful with a virtual assistant. Craig is always on every single one of those lives, and he's on the 10:30. So I love you, Craig.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hafa Daily, I'm assuming that's, I don't know if that's really your name, but the name of maybe your YouTube channel, is asking, Matt, what are your main tasks you hire your VA for? Like let's make that an easier question, because you could hire a virtual assistant to do anything you could do online. But what would you start off, hiring VAs to do for you? What would be the first thing?
Yeah, so great question. Number one, it's bringing you more leads, right? So your virtual assistant, in the beginning, I was so dumb. I did not even know the difference between, I was like, I don't need a virtual assistant. I need a cold caller, right? So where do I find a cold caller? I did not know those two things were the same. But yeah, that was number one for me. And I think it should be for everyone. You need more leads in your business. You can't be the one, if you want to grow it, right, from maybe you're not doing any deals, or maybe you're doing one or two, or maybe you're doing like upwards of 3 or 4. You can't continue to grow if you're still doing every single thing. If I was still physically door knocking, my business would have never grown. If I was doing every single cold call, my business would have never grown. Number one, and the first thing you should hire in multiple, like your first 3 or 4 or 5 hires, should be virtual assistants to help you marketing. Now, obviously, we talk about cold calling, we talk about texting. It's because the cost per lead is very cheap, right? But your virtual assistants can do anything around your marketing. But I would say number one, first and foremost, help get a virtual assistant, help you with your marketing. And once you get to the point where you're getting too many leads on your calendar to call, that's when you find someone to help you with, like, we call it lead managing. But yes, your first hire should always be people to help you on the phones, or people you help you texting to bring in more leads to your business.
Awesome. Let's see here. See what other questions we have coming in. Michael's asking, are you using that term synonymously with cold calling, or are you actually physically door knocking?
Physically door knocking. So the thing I was saying, Michael, was I didn't want a cold call. I don't even know if I have my headset around here, but I didn't want to put on a headset and go through, dials after dials. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. I know there's a lot of people out there to teach you how to be really good on the phones for cold calling and finding opportunities. That's definitely okay. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be here on the dialer. Actually, I never did a single cold call. Never once. Not even for retail real estate, get listings. I hated it. Didn't want to do it. I got like the most call reluctance. So it was weird. But yet I can still go. I'll go knock. I was going to do. I was like, I'm in front of people and have some conversations, because I knew, like, if I'm going to get a deal and I want this to get done pretty quickly, because I'm pretty impatient. I'm like, all right, I need to go get in front of these people. I need to get in front of people in foreclosure, and that's why I was physically go knock on their doors and have conversations.
Awesome. So Craig is asking, is Pace in New York? No, he's in Arizona. There is an issue from COVID and a quarantine. Required quarantine that Pace and Jamil couldn't adhere by, so they had to cancel their trip, unfortunately. So hopefully things clear up and get a little bit more normal, and so he can get out there. Eden says super inspiring. Yeah, Matt's done a really, really awesome job. Gel is asking, what do you think is better, a mentorship or a VA? I mean, it really depends. I think for me, and then, I'd love to hear your opinion too, Matt. I think it really depends on what are you hiring them to do? I mean, what's your VA going to do for you? If you already know what to do, as far as, and I could, make this pretty simple, guys, like your wholesale business is only a few things. You have lead generation. That's making sure leads are coming in. A VA can help you do that. You need to find the list to target. Very easy. High equity absentee, people that don't owe a lot of money on their home. they're absentee owners, meaning they live out of state. Okay, you have a high equity absentee list. You skip trace it with something simple like batch leads. You skip trace the list, you get their phone numbers. You either cold call them yourself, you hire a VA to cold call them for you, or you text them, or you ringless voicemail them, right? Like you market outbound to those people. Some inquire and they're interested, they do want to sell. And those are the people that you want to get on the phone with and have a conversation to try to negotiate a good deal. That's the acquisition part of the process. So you have your lead generation, your marketing, your acquisition, which is the process of following up with the leads, converting the ones that'll convert. And then the next stage is, okay, now you have a contract. Now you need to either close on it and do a deal on your own where you're flipping it, you're holding it as a rental, whatever your strategy is, or you get it under contract, you find another investor, which go to an investor Facebook group in your market, go to a meetup in your market, find the top real estate agents that sell remodeled homes. They're probably selling investors' homes. Reach out to them, see if they have a buyer, sell the deal, make money. You don't need to overcomplicate this process. Like, that's a simple process and every list works. Don't overthink it. A mentorship is great. It can help you with accountability and take you to the next level. But if it's between I'm paying for a mentorship and not being able to pay for marketing, or paying for marketing, do the marketing. That's what I would say. I mean, Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I agree with you. First and foremost, I think a lot of folks make it, well, just think we're doing something special that we're not.
Yeah.
My whole business is built around high equity absentee. The whole thing, high equity absentee, especially right now, it's amazing. So it's not. We're not doing anything magic. We're not doing anything crazy. But like what you're saying, it depends on your budget. I definitely think there's a place for both. I think both is super duper important because learning and growing and learning from folks that are actually doing this business and having a mentor, that is very, very important because you like, I think that's another thing. It's not just like, okay, we're getting more deals in. It's like, how do you level up as a person as well as a business? So I think a mentor is very important. But at the same time, you need to have a VA, or like your marketing effort should be scaled first because your marketing is going to get you paid. And then you can take your money you get paid and get you a mentor.
Yep. No, I agree with that. I mean, because then you get some deals and you can pay for the mentorships and some marketing. Right. I just lean towards pay for the marketing, and then you'll learn a lot during that process. Too.
Right. Yeah. Like failure's, like they always say, failure's the best like teacher. And it's the truth. Like, for what I know, doing wholesaling and this real estate investing stuff, I learned way more in the short period of time, sucking really bad at like knocking on doors. That was the best teacher in the world because I was like, I knew nothing about the foreclosure process, and
I learned it.
Yes, I was just getting hit with objections, hit with all. I get back in my car. I'm like, all right, what's a loan modification? Okay, perfect. Yeah. And just be a little bit more prepared every single time I go to the door. And that was the best teacher. So yes, like you're saying, marketing first, then get yourself a mentor.
100%. So this is a great question from Daniel. After we answer this, I'm going to go through a case study of a deal to give, just a real life insight to everybody that's listening in, where it came from, how the deal came about, and the process from start to finish on this thing. Super, super excited about this one. So Daniel's asking, what specifically are your VAs doing to bring you leads and help close the leads? Are they pulling lead data, skip tracing, cold calling, text campaigns? What does that look like for you, Matt?
Yep. So again, it depends on where you're at. My VAs do all of these things now. But in the beginning, I wore just about every single hat other than cold calling and texting, right? Cold calling was first because I was still door knocking and I was replying to text while I was door knocking, and they were cold calling in leads that I pulled, that I formatted, that I put into the dialer. I did all those things. And then, we close a couple deals. Great. Let's get another person to help cold calling. All right. We close another deal. Let's get someone to help texting. Now I don't have to respond to text and almost hit people while I'm door knocking. Right. And then from there, it just kept going to, okay, all these people were helping me with marketing. Now I need someone to help me with my systems. I was getting too many leads to, to keep track of pulling the data. And I was going to too many appointments where it's like, oh my gosh, like there were days where like I had appointments at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m. And my agents were like, hey, Matt, we ran out of data on the dialer. What are you supposed to do? Or, hey, Matt, we don't have this in our texting. Or what are we supposed to do? I'm like, well, I'm not home, And I'd end up losing like a whole day of marketing because like I wasn't home to do it. So that was the next thing. It's like, okay, now I'm busy enough to say, all right, I need some help with the admin task. So I had VAs help me with the admin. So it started, number one, with cold callers, calling data, the high equity absentee, pre-foreclosures. And then from there, we started closing deals, kept them in that role, got someone helping with admin tasks. And then my very best cold callers became my lead managers, right? That was that next step. The people that were really sufficient on the phones and understood, like it took a lot of training, like every single week. The stuff that I was learning at the door, I was giving it to my VA. It's like, hey, so if you hear this on the phone, like this is what that means. Or like when someone hits you with this objection, I learned that this works really well. So everything that I was learning, I was giving to my VAs, and it was the ones that were super proficient in those things eventually became my lead managers to where they were vetting the leads. And by the time it hit my calendar, like this person's ready to sell, Matt, give them a call. Right. So that was kind of the natural progression there.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So as far as, answering that myself, pretty much everything that Matt's doing is essentially like we're doing a lot of the same things. I don't have lead managers though. We just have our cold callers and we have our junior acquisition and our acquisition guys on our team. So that's something that we're going to look at implementing too. So excited to see how that part starts to really help our business. So like I was saying though, guys, I am going to just go through just start to finish on, a deal that we recently got. I'm going to explain to you, really what we're doing with it and what the numbers look like generally on this property. Just a recent deal we bought last week or just got under contract. So a new deal that we got, it's in Chandler, Arizona. On this particular property, it's on North Sacramento Street. And this is a 2-bed, 2-bath mobile home. And for those of you guys that have followed us for a while, we love mobile homes. These deals are great. And, whether you're wholesaling them or whether you're holding them, we really like these types of deals. And so this particular deal, 2-bed, 2-bath, 1971 mobile home. We ended up buying this property for $75,000, but we bought it on a seller carry. So meaning on an installment sale where we give the seller a down payment, which on this particular deal, it was 10 grand down. So we bought it for 75. We're financing $65,000 from this particular seller. And we're going to make payments of $400 a month to the seller until the property's paid off. And I think it's like 15 or 17 years or so that the term was for on this particular property. So we're going to have a property paid off free and clear in about 15 to 17 years. And we got it at 0% interest, meaning we aren't paying any interest on the money. So, these deals are great. I love these deals. And so
especially in Chandler.
Dude, yeah, it's downtown Chandler.
Amazing. That's really good.
Yeah. So it's this deal, the area is a little bit rougher neighborhood, but everything in that area is being revitalized. I mean, the neighborhoods all around it are being, properties are being fixed up. So it's right in the path of where we want to be. So that's what, those are what the kind of numbers kind of look like as far as PITI. It's about it's like $590 a month is what our total payment is with our taxes. There's no I really, it's just PTI payment, principal, taxes, and insurance on it. So we're about $590 a month, and we'll go and rent this property for about $950 a month. Once we're going to go put about $5 grand into it, just kind of cleaning it up as well. But this is a great deal. We're paying no interest on the property, right? So no interest that we're paying to a bank. We didn't have to qualify for a loan because we negotiated on a seller carry, right? So our terms are great. Now I want to go through the process of how this deal came about. So I'm just going into on my other screen here on back to leads. So the list that this deal came from, this isn't some magical list. It's literally the list that Matt and myself were talking about earlier. High equity absentee. So this list was on my Arizona high equity list and absentee owner list. So pretty nothing rocket science. It's not, on 7 different lists that I did some niche marketing campaign to put this deal together. It's
it
just
works, man. It works.
yeah. So high equity absentee, this lead came in, give you guys an idea. Sometimes, you'll get a deal and it turns into a deal right away. Sometimes there's a little bit more follow-up. So I'm just going to show you guys. I don't want to share my screen because we haven't closed escrow. We close on it in about a week. So I don't want to spam. But it looks like there was about 21 follow-up calls between our sales guy and which was Cameron Tate. Shout out to Cameron on our team. But he had over 20 follow-up calls before the seller converted into a contract, right? So just understanding, guys, it's not an overnight thing, but he did turn the contract relatively quick within this period of time. The first time he called the seller was on, September 8th. So lead came in on September 8th, and then he followed up. And then that finally turned into a contract. It looks like just about a week ago, the 17th. So this is on the 17th of October. So it was a little over a month, about a month and a week, or a month and a little over a week to turn that from a new lead in our system to a contract. And the source of that lead was from one of our virtual assistants that texted that particular owner. So this is what this lady told my VA. I'm just going to read this to you guys. The lady responded about him texting her about being interested in buying the property or giving an offer on the property. She says, call me at this number, and sends her cell phone over. And then my VA's note was, did a quick call with Alvina. She said she's available for a follow-up call tomorrow morning. She's really interested in selling this property. She is older and wants to use the money to move on and be able to just retire. So we got that, there's motivation there. So, obviously the next step was Cameron on our team reached out to this particular homeowner and followed up with her for, over 20 times over a little over a month's period of time. But that's
Cameron.
Yeah, it's,
Cameron. That's what it takes. It's all about the follow-up. Everybody says that, but for real, this is a testament to that. That's awesome.
Yep. When I look at it, the average seller in our database, it's seldom to see a lead that we convert in less than 10 contacts to them or 10 outgoing calls to them. It's because they want to tell you the story, they get more comfortable with you. And, and those additional touches could be like the call back the same day, the follow up the next day, okay, you're not ready, like setting up, follow up in a week, they got some weird family situation, Susie has a surgery scheduled, so now she has to wait 3 more weeks. That's the life. That's the conversation you're having when you're dealing with these particular homeowners, right?
For sure, man. And I think to that end, sometimes a lot of folks lose this is you're doing these follow-ups. You got to put your ego aside. A lot of people, especially salespeople, you're ready for the negotiation. You want to get the contract, and sometimes you just push them further and further away because you seem needy. Put your ego aside and just make it about the prospect. And I kind of do that on every single lead that I have. I play the long game, and some people's like, you didn't get the contract? Say, no, listen, I got this.
There's a strategy behind it. It always does that too. And I notice it with our newer sales guys is he'll get on the phone and talk to a seller and get off, and he's like, yeah, we'll get that contract. And the new sales guy will be like, what do you mean? Why didn't you negotiate? We did he's like, there's a process. There's a process behind this. She's not ready. If they're not ready, there's no negotiation. They're not ready to sell.
Don't talk about numbers, man.
Yep. Definitely not. So that was a particular deal that we did, that was a more recent deal. This is actually I'm going to bring that up here in a second, but that particular virtual assistant, was one of my text managers on my team. And so he's just sending out texts, fielding those conversations. And I mean, now we have an asset that we bought with, $10,000 down. There's no interest that's being paid on the property. We're going to rent it out, positive cash flow, a few $100s a month. We don't have to worry about servicing it with a bank or anything. We're direct to the seller. And we have multiple exit strategies on this. We bought it under market value. Plus we got no interest on it. Plus we're able to, if we wanted to, we could sell it on a wrap and probably sell it for $50,000, $60,000 higher and charge interest and arbitrage that.
Right. Your payment is like nothing, dude.
Yeah. So that's the thing, guys, is, that all started though from a very simple Arizona high equity list. And somebody asked what percentage of equity, 30% or more, because that means there's more equity in there for them to negotiate with, to, get that down. I like more, but if there's at least 30%, sometimes you can wholesale those properties or do like a subtail or something like that if it's a little bit tighter deal or novation agreement. So you have some options on it still.
Right. I mean, and you try to do your best, but
yeah,
sometimes these people recently like refinanced or something too, so you don't really know, but you do the best you can. Yeah,
you just do. That's all you can do is do the best that you possibly can. There's another question here that I wanted to ask to you, Matt. Let's see, where is this one? I think it was Daniel was asking, how do you get a virtual assistant, successfully in the Philippines? Like, I guess, what are the options to be able to, get, get a virtual assistant in the Philippines?
Right. Well, I mean, I was kind of the guy when I got started. I tried everything, the cheapest methods possible. Right. So I went to Upwork. And I like fired every single one of those, or like we kind of mutually went ways, I guess you could say, because you get a lot of people on Upwork that are like gig kind of people, right? They work a gig for you and they work a gig for someone else, and they never really buy into what you're doing. And you end up spending all this time trying to train them, and you put all this energy and resources in it, and the next thing you know, it doesn't work out, or the time that they're telling me they're logging isn't correct, and they're cheating me on hours and stuff. So I went through all the trials and tribulations on that before like starting to put together like a really good process. And it was largely the reason why now, like, I'm one of the owners of VA Hub, right? And in VA Hub, every single one of our virtual assistants is in the Philippines. And I think a reason why a lot of our clients decide to work with us is the fact that you don't have to go through that, right? All of our VAs are trained, right? They know the real estate industry. They understand this. They use the same that I use in my personal business, right? And they vet the leads just like we do in our personal business. And they're managed, right? All of our clients get client success managers. So they make sure, literally their only job is to make sure the VAs are performing. So I mean, there's all different kind of routes you can go. There's so many people out there saying, oh, we have the best VAs, or you go hire a VA from here or there. I think the one thing that we do really well is make sure that we provide quality leads for our clients. So VA Hub is a great option. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm part of the company. But, as a user, I understand the struggles of getting to that level and realizing like there's a real need for this. Because I couldn't find that. I had tried so many different things. I tried to hire VAs from different countries and other services where they're like, oh, we'll help you manage your VAs and stuff. It never worked out for me. So it largely came by necessity, but now it works out really well.
Awesome. So I just wanted to let everyone know, and then we'll get right back on topic that, with Matt on that topic of VA Hub, VA Hub is the sponsor for Sunday service. So, vahub.com, if you use the discount code Sunday service, you can get a discount on getting, set up over there and getting leads going. If you do have some additional questions, Obviously, you could reach out to Matt. I'd be happy to answer questions as well. Let's see here. So let's jump back into some questions here. We have a lot of really good questions, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll probably go for another 20 minutes here. And so I want to be able to answer as many questions as we can in that time. And then we will close it out for the evening. Mike, percentage of equity, yes, 30% or more. That's what we look at. But like Matt said, really it's tough because sometimes they might have just refinanced, and there's so many variables that a good, we look at just 30% or more would be what we'd consider it. Paul is asking, is batch leads the same as batch driven? Both different. Batch leads is more like you're doing more scale and more volume of business. You're managing your list there, so you're not overspending on data management. You're doing text marketing on a blasting more of a level where you're sending out hundreds, if not thousands, of text messages a day from that platform, and you're pulling lists from there. That's essentially what you're using that for. Batch driven is more if you're going to be virtually driving for dollars, or if you're going to physically drive for dollars, or if you want a door knock, that's also an option with it too. Do some route tracking, and you could send out one-off text messages and mail campaigns and things like that with batch driven. But batch driven's more of virtually driving for dollars, physically driving for dollars. Batch leads is more inclusive, like more scaled operation, for your business.
And batch leads is when you have like multiple VAs that are cold calling and you have a lot of data. A reason why I use batch leads in our business is like the central hub for all of our data, right? Because in the beginning, I was skip tracing the same stuff over and over again. I pull that foreclosure list, right?
Yeah, dude, I did that a lot too.
Like super lazy. I didn't want to go through all the spreadsheets like, I already have this person's data, or I don't have this person's data, So it was like a big thing. I'm like, you know what? Let's just skip trace it again. So when you have batch leads, you don't have to do that. You can stack your list, you can text, you can do all kind of cool stuff. But like what Cody's saying, there are two different purposes, but two very important, but realizing where you're at right now. So if you're like, I'm still trying to get my first deal and I want it to be as cost effective as possible, batch driven is awesome, because batch driven is made for folks that are in the field. Batch driven is made for door knocking, right? Like I was doing, virtually driving for dollars or physically driving for dollars, right? And you can even text within batch driven. But if you're trying to keep your costs low and you're wondering like, how do I get my first deal? Batch driven is the way to go, because you have everything on your phone and it has a desktop app, right? Then once you start scaling your business, you start buying more data. You're sending out text blasts, and you need to manage like who you're calling on a month-to-month basis, whatever. That's when you should transition into batch leads. But I guess it's just figuring out where you are at right now.
100%. Oh, I saw this come through. So we snoozed on the lead in Mesa. Jacqueline and you guys locked her up, didn't know how to evaluate land. She did not want any money for the home, just the land. How do I evaluate land and not let another lead like this fall through the cracks? Number one is if you're in Arizona, if you're doing deals in Arizona specifically, that is our expertise, whether land, mobile homes, single family homes, condos, townhomes, whatever residential properties or residential lots that you are working. That is our bread and butter. That's our business out here. So I would say if you have a lead and you aren't sure and you want help underwriting that deal, shoot me a message on Instagram. Reach out to me and I would be happy to take a look at that. Have Jeff on my team take a look at that deal, because so Matt, I think I told you about it, but I don't know. But I got a deal on batch driven this week.
Did you?
I didn't tell you about this?
Nah, dude, it's the first time. Come on, hit me with it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this is hilarious. Let's see here. So I sent this lady a text message. I'm gonna read this to you guys. This text isn't even the greatest message in the world either. But so this is the story. So myself and my girlfriend Hayel, we're fostering a dog. There's a dog that got left by some tenants at a property. We didn't want basically anything bad to happen to it, so we wanted to help. And so we fostered this dog for like 2 weeks, and took care of it, whatever. And then there was a family that wanted the dog. And so we go over to this house, and it's a nice little old folks mobile home community. It's a nice family, right? Nice older lady and her mom that lived together. And so we're in this community on like a Saturday afternoon. And whenever I'm out and about, and if I see beat up properties or properties that are like, damn, like that thing needs a lot of love, I just get on the app. It's really easy for me to do. So I was driving, we were driving down the road. We got to the house in this mobile home cul-de-sac, and Sandy was the lady's name. And so me and my girlfriend, my mom was also there. We're showing this dog to this mom and, this lady and her mom. And I keep looking over at the property next door, and I'm like, gosh, this mobile home looks like it's been vacant for years. Like this, I'm like, it just doesn't look, just the way that the walls of the mobile, I'm like, man, I don't think anyone's been here in at least 10 years. And, the landscaping had been kept up because it's a HOA in this community. So I'm like, somebody's keeping it up, but it looks so vacant. And so I literally pull up on my phone. I'm sitting on the ground too. Like I'm literally sitting on the ground, like looking over at this mobile home, and, playing with the dog. And I just pull up this address on my phone and I just skip traced her phone number. And then I sent her this text message here. It's not even the greatest text message in the world.
I was curious if you'd be open to sell the mobile home on Arbor Avenue. I was actually visiting with one of your neighbors. It kind of went dark on me. Neighbors next door, and saw your corner lot property. Sorry for the random text. I love it.
And look, Saturday, September 26th at 4:13 p.m. And then I called her when we were leaving. I called her, and this was this last week.
As is, needs work, dude. I love it.
I need cash out.
Like you could not hope for a better response.
Like, what else could you want?
Dude, I'm telling you, like, that's crazy, but that's amazing. Like that's the power of doing, like, having that app. Like, we didn't have that. Like, even 6 months ago, I was using it just to where it was like a hotline number, and it was like, okay, if you text in the address, it texts me the phone numbers for that person, like, back to me. So it was like, I thought that was really cool. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like 15 cents every time I do it. Bang, I got their phone numbers, but you can do it within the app and send them a text. So that's really, really cool. And it's funny you say that, because, like, I think probably everyone watching this is the same way. Like, we pass by an ugly house and we're like, dude, wait a second. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the car with Mallory, and we're driving down the road and we're going somewhere, and all of a sudden I'm like, I hit the brake. Oh my God. She's like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, did you see that house? Did you see that house? Hang on. We're trying
to. I'm like, oh, whip it around back here. We gotta go back. You see that? This thing's falling apart.
She's like, oh my God, you scared me.
Literally. It's like, it's funny. I'm on like a little vacation in Idaho, working remote here, and like I'll drive by like a really beat up house, and I'm like, I don't do deals here, but that house, like.
So what's the market like in Idaho?
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder, could I do something with this? But, it's funny. But yeah, so that's but the thing is, like, when you have a hot seller, there's a lesson in this too. If you have a seller ready to go and they're just like ready at a number, and you think it could be remotely in the ballpark, get a contract and use your inspection period. Because there's other people that were working. So this is the lady's call. I called her. So this is after that text message she sent me. I just called her. So I'm over here. This is the day I'm moving too. That was on Monday. That was the day I was moving. So I'm like carrying a box, and I'm like looking at this text, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta call this lady. So I called the lady. I'm like walking to my car, like putting the box in my car, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I just got your text. So what are you looking to do? What are you trying to accomplish? I don't do sales either, for those of you guys that don't know. That's not my thing, but I'm just like,
you want to sell your house to me?
Yeah. Yeah, so I call her back, and I'm like, hey, what are you trying to accomplish? I'm like putting that in there. I'm like moving boxes. I'm just doing like I'm literally moving while I'm talking to this lady. So put the box in my car. She's like, yeah, like I just need to cash out. I just, my bar in California, I just lost it to COVID, and it's really, unfortunate situation that was happening. And so I'm just like, well, what are you looking to accomplish? And so she's like, well, I just want to cash out and be done here as soon as possible. So she's like, if you can close really quickly and, do this for me, it's been vacant for 12 years. So I'm just, I'm not going to do anything with it. And I just want to be done. So I'm like, okay, well, where do you want to be at? And she's kind of giving me a range of where she wants to be for the property. And I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. I'm going to have my partner Pace give you a call back. I'm actually moving from my house right now, as you hear me shuffling around with boxes and tape while I'm on the phone with you. So I'm going to have Pace call you back in about 30 minutes. And, let's see, maybe if we could help you, great. If we can't, no harm, no foul. And, hopefully I could at least, he can give you some advice. That was how I left the call. And I just teed it up. I'm like, he's calling you in 30 minutes. And 30 minutes later, I didn't even comp it. I knew just the area. So Paige just called her. She's ready to go, sent it over, contract. And, she was ready to go.
Just like that, make like 40 grand. That's pretty cool.
So, but the thing is, guys, is just taking action. Don't wait. Like, too many people are overthinking, like, well, like, is it a deal or not a deal? Obviously, don't contract something stupid. But if it sounds like in the ballpark, you look at it on Zillow, you do, 70% or less than, Zillow value, and they're giving you a number in that range, it's probably safe to try to contract it if you're worried about competition.
Yeah,
but
well, I think a lot of folks are afraid to take the next step. I mean, before I actually got my first deal, before I started door knocking, I had like a huge driving for dollar list. I drive for dollars every single day, and I put them into my notebook. And guess what? I never did anything with it. I had a massive list, and I was just like, oh, well, what if I call them and they don't want to sell? I probably shouldn't do that. I think a lot of people are in the same boat, right? You go out and you drive for dollars, and maybe you happenstance, you find a property like you're talking about, Cody, and you're just you have some reluctance because you feel like you don't know what to say, or you feel like you need to know everything. Hey, sometimes you like, even if you don't get that deal, you're going to learn from that conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're going to get into this being reluctant. Like, you might as well fail and you might as well suck in the beginning, because you're going to get better. You have to get better. If you get the repetitions, you're definitely going to get better. So take action on it, man.
Yeah. And it's like, on the part of failing, it's like, if any of you that are listening have ever heard Jim Rohn, he's one of my favorite personal development speakers, Jim Rohn. If you haven't heard of him, you should check him out. He's since passed away, but he has a really good, one of the things he talks about is, with people with, giving up or failure and becoming successful. He's like, he related it to how, little kids, like a baby, right? He's like, well, he's like, let me put it this way. He's like, how long would you give your average baby, to walk before you tell him to give up? Or how long would you give him? It's like, if it takes your baby an extra month, are you just going to say, well, nope, stop, just crawl the rest of your life. Like, don't even try. Or, where somebody's baby is doing it a lot faster than your baby, you're not going to be like, oh, my baby sucks. Like, they're not going to be a walker.
Yeah, like, oh, well,
he's a walker.
He's just not a walker.
He's just not a walker. So the correlation is, it's like, too many people, if you guys are listening in and you're discouraged or about, not getting a deal as fast as somebody else, you have a different timeline than somebody else might have, and you have to be okay with that. There's no certain amount of time that something should take you versus somebody else, and so really got to understand that.
I agree with you, and I talked about this on Friday. I think the only time that this business doesn't work out for folks is when you quit.
Yeah,
because if you don't quit, you're going to make it happen. You're taking consistent action. You do what it takes. You know what you need to do. There's no way it's not going to work eventually. Even if you're like way worse than everybody else, like you're seriously like, oh my God, terrible at talking to people. Like, we have a kid on our team who has zero social skills.
Yeah.
But he's the best door knocker like I have ever seen. And he gets told no more than anyone else. But he has like this thing where I've seen it. Like I've taken him around to door knock, and he knocks on the door and he gets yelled at, and he's just like, boom, okay, done. Back in the car, go to the next one. Right? And that's where you got to be. You got to shut it off. You just got to keep going.
Yep. 100%. 100%. It's funny. Gabriel's like rubbernecking about the driving past the property. Thank you so much for the advice, Facebook user. Thank you. I'm sorry it doesn't say your name for some reason, but thank you. We appreciate, being able to provide feedback. If this is as you guys are on, and if we're providing good value and we're giving you, good information you're going to be able to go out and implement into your business and, help give you some perspectives to help share the message, invite your friends to listen to Sunday service. Post in the Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group. Let us know, what your takeaway from the call is. That helps us know that, hey, like we should keep doing this. People are really getting value from these calls that we're doing. So, we'd really appreciate that. Eden saying, felt that was good karma on your part. Way to go for taking care of the dog. Yeah, probably, because goddamn, guys, like that dog was taking it was like, whining at night, and I'm busy. I'm working a lot during the day. So is my girlfriend. So the dog was kind of high maintenance in certain ways. And I'm like, man, like I got to sleep during the night. Like,
oh my God, you needed it. You needed something to care for. Stop.
Yeah.
As good as I do. You're over here. You're giving this dog away and you're crying. You have tears. You can't even look at it. So you're looking at this property over here to get your mind off of it.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of sad. I was like little Rue. We called him Rue, but it was the right thing to do. I don't think it's good karma. Yes, it was good karma, but it's the right thing to do. I just think it's it's like take care of other animals. I don't know, softy for that. But yeah, so okay, let me see. Let's take a couple. Oh, wow. It's already 8:58 or no, what time? That's my time, 7:58. So we've already been on for about an hour. So let's take one or two more questions and we will close it up. Tristan, what's up, man?
Yo.
Glad you're on here. Daniel said he recorded that call of this lady that the deal that we got, that Driving for Dollars one.
Masterful close. How much do you want? Okay, if we can pay that, what's next? Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna send you a contract.
Exactly. It's so funny, but it's just taking action. But if you are in Arizona, I mean, we would love to help with those types of deals. Like if it's a hot one, like do whatever, freaking do a smoke signal, a text message, a cold call to me. Like if you have a deal, like
a smoke signal.
Like if it's a hot deal, hit me up. Like we'll help. Like don't send me a deal and say it's hot. That's $250 asking price, and the Zillow estimate's like $200 though.
He's gonna text you back the emoji of the guy throwing something in the trash can.
Seriously. Camo High, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, but how many people drove by that house, never did anything, you took action? That's it. You could just take your consistent actions. They compound over time. So keep going, guys. Wow, Claudio, I got 650 virtual driving for $1 leads this month. That's awesome. I mean, the virtual driving is dope. It's super
good. That's a lot of progress.
Especially like I'm here in Idaho and it's cold as crap out here. It's like 20 something degrees out right now. And I'm like, my gosh, I would not want to, I don't even want to go outside, honestly. I like just working inside by the fire.
There's people driving for dollars virtually using Batch Driven in Phoenix that live in like different countries. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Yep, 100%. Okay, let's see. A couple. I know, Aaron, you've asked a few questions. I'm sorry we can't get to all of them. I wish we can get everybody's questions answered, but so many start coming through from all the different channels. We try to go through here, so we appreciate it. But Aaron, are you guys finding a lot of pre-foreclosures or putting things off since they're in forbearance right now? I say no. I would definitely say no on that. What are you seeing? I think there's people that are not as urgent, but we're definitely still getting those deals.
Yeah, no, I think it's a mixed bag like it always is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if forbearance here or not. These people are going to procrastinate. They're going to be slippery. They're going to tell you one thing and do another. But I think pre-foreclosure in general is a great, great, great list. It's obviously a great opportunity for us. But it's the ones that like the pre-foreclosure list, we have to follow with those people the most, and we have to go, extra measures with those people the most. That's why we door knock pre-foreclosures. It's because we can't get them on the phone. They won't answer text messages. They're getting phone calls from everyone else. We got to go get in front of them. So it doesn't matter if it was forbearance or not. I think it's still equal. Like we just got a contract yesterday with a lady who was getting phone calls, texts, like literally. We're like, okay, so here's the story. We're sitting there in the dining room with them, and she's getting phone calls. Like as I'm talking to her, I hear this guy on the phone. It's like, hey, I'm interested in your property, like, or whatever. It's like, hey, do you have time to talk today? She's like, no, I have some people over the house right now that wants to buy it. And the guy, I can hear him. He's like, okay, well, don't sign anything. I'll be over there soon. And she goes, okay, I'm not going to sign anything, right? And as we get talking and stuff. And we get, into our conversations. And I close her. She signs our contract. The same guy calls, okay, and he's like, "Hey, so are they still there?" She's like, "Yeah, they gave me a better deal. I got to go buy." And she just hung up on him. So I think it's just like willing to go the extra mile for these people because they're going to be slippery. Everyone is trying to reach out to the
slippery.
You got to get in front of them, and they're going to put things off to the last minute, and that's why you got to be a good problem solver. To help them because how many times we got a contract, Cody, where the homeowner is like a week out from foreclosure?
Most of the foreclosures.
Yes, most of them.
If not all. Like most of the time, because here's the thing, Aaron, the forbearance is it's like taking an ibuprofen. It's treating a symptom, not the actual disease. The disease is the loss of job. The disease is the financial stress, the health issue, whatever is causing them to be missing their payments and be in pre-foreclosure. That's the real disease. The forbearance is they're taking ibuprofen and they don't feel the pain because they're like, well, I'm not going to lose my house still for a few more months, but there's still an actual problem there. And so that's where people usually wait to the end of it. They got no more ibuprofen. The pain starts to come. And then they're like, oh, this is painful. I got to figure this out quick. And then
the pain's even worse. The pain's even worse.
Yeah.
It's gotten worse.
Yep. So that's, that's just the psychology that you have to understand with these individuals. So let's finish with this question here from Lawrence. What's your conversion rate? How many leads do you go through on average prior to getting a contract? Congrats on the lead, by the way. Thanks, Lawrence. So Matt, let's do yours, and then we'll do mine. Aaron also had a question about, do we get more deals from text or calls? So let's answer kind of both of those. So I'll go first on it. So as far as our general overall between cold calling and texting are different lead sources that we utilize. Our overall average lead per contract is right now at about 43 leads per contract. So that's what our overall number looks like between all lead channels. As far as more deals, we get more deals from text message marketing, but we get bigger deals from cold call marketing. Our average cold call deal is typically going to be over $20,000. But what we found on our text marketing deals is those are typically, closer to 10 to 12,000. So for some reason, that's kind of what it's looked like for us. But that's what that looks like. And in between Arizona and Florida, Matt, so let's talk about your numbers, and then also understanding it's like, don't compare your numbers specifically to mine or Matt's because you're at a different stage in your business. You have different people filling different positions. You may be the one man or one woman show. So you may have better or worse results. But these are just two successful businesses, regardless of what number they look like. It's just what our numbers are. Don't get caught up on the numbers, though. It's just tracking of the numbers is what's important. But Matt, so what, if you want to go over that and then maybe some of like the understanding on that too, because we were just talking about this on the phone earlier.
Yeah. So to that end, I can't compare my business to Cody's because he has like junior acquisition folks and he has senior acquisition. They have a completely different process than what we have. and they also focus a lot more on the creative finance stuff and subject to that. For the longest time, we would not even work those. We're like, we just want wholesale. We just want wholesale. We started to open the door on some of those things, but I guess it's understanding what you're hoping to do, what your business model is. And then obviously, if you're a one-man show or if it's you and your buddy working it, it's how good are you at negotiations? Because at the end of the day, you can be dished 50, 60, 70 leads. And I see it all the time. People reach out to me. It's like, Matt, so I'm getting leads. Why am I not getting any contracts? I got 50. Why don't I have a deal? You said, 1 in 43. Why don't I have it? It's like, well, hey, your skills get the deals, right? I think Chris Root says that skills get the deals. So, you can get all the leads in the world. And if you don't close them, then it doesn't matter. Right now we're sitting at 1 in 18, right? So 1 in 18 for leads that come in, we get a contract. So cold calling is best for us. Now it's also market dependent. So Phoenix in general, I hate it. I hate Phoenix, but I'm still here because I got to be here. I live here. So the cost per deal is a lot more in Phoenix than it is in our other markets. But in general, we do more deals from cold call leads than we do text. And it's funny because Cody does more deals from text than they do cold call. So it's always funny to see how that works. And I guess, I just try to stay in my lane. I know Cody, they do the same thing, right? We work on our own businesses. We share best practices. And, we just try to do the best we can. And I just know here in Phoenix, it's a harder market for us simply because cold calling doesn't work near as well here in Phoenix as it does other places. And when that's our best lead source, what do you think is going to happen in Phoenix? We're not going to get that many deals, right? So typically 1 in 18, but cold calling is better than texting, but it's also market dependent.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I appreciate you hopping on here tonight with us. Everybody on this evening, we appreciate you being here. Like I said, again, if this is something that you've gotten value from, please make sure to, share within the Facebook group, take a screenshot, post, tag, let your friends know about what we're doing here with Sunday Service. And, this show, again, was sponsored by specifically vahub.com. So if you let them know over at vahub.com, then they can give you a discount for getting started if you're ready to get started with a virtual assistant. And the team over there will be able to help you understand if you're really ready for that or not. Next weekend, we will be back with Pace as well. And, questions that you guys have or suggested topics, we're always happy to hear some feedback on that. I think we'll be able to go through the creative, the reasons to buy creative finance deals, numbers 4 through 7 on next week's call. So we appreciate you guys being here. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. Crush it, everybody, this week. And we'll see you on the next call. See you guys.
Let's go get some deals. See you guys.